Hi everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, Content Marketing. It's part of the Back to Basics Marqui webinar series. Today we're going to be talking about, any guesses? No? Content marketing. Surprise, surprise. We're going to be talking about what it is, some strategies and theories behind it, how you can choose the right tools to get the job done, and what you can do today to get started with your digital content marketing. But before we get into all the good stuff, first of all, if you've never used GoToWebinar before, that's what the controls look like. If you click the little red arrow at the top, you can get the controls out of the way and you can see the slides. Bring the interface back the same way. And as we go, if you have questions throughout the webinar, feel free to enter them in the box that you see there. Once we get to the end of the presentation, I've got a few minutes set aside to answer any questions that might pop up, so stick around for that. Hey look, it's me. I'm Adam Koval. I'm Marqui's Manager of Digital Services. I've been on the team since early 2007, so I've been here a while. And I've had a whole bunch of different jobs here on the Marqui team. Right now, I'm responsible mainly for education and strategy for our clients. I do training for new customers and new users within the existing customer base. I help clients get the absolute most out of Marqui, really no matter what their skill level or budget is. But today I'm here to help you. Before we get started, I just like to make sure everybody's in the right place. You're in this webinar likely because you signed up for it on our website, or you got an invitation email as part of our newsletter system. You filled out a form on our website after you visited one of our landing pages. All of this stuff is built with the Marqui CMS system. I'll show you a little bit of that at the end. But if any of that doesn't sound right, you might have wandered into the wrong webinar. But by all means, you're welcome. Stick around. So this is the agenda of today's presentation. I'm going to talk a little bit about what content marketing is in general. We'll talk about digital content, the different kinds of content you might be producing digitally, the vectors that you would use to deliver that content to your audience, and why you're doing content marketing in the first place. We'll talk a little bit about the strategic details, how you can make it work, what kind of tools, the technology that you might need to help you do that. We'll have a little bit of a Q&A at the end if there's any questions, and then I'll talk about what's next for you as attendees of this webinar. So what is content marketing? This presentation is going to focus primarily on digital content marketing, but before we get there, I want to talk about the general discipline of content marketing. So it's important to recognize that it's not tied to any specific media. You can do content marketing using high-quality content on the radio, in print, on TV, by web or email, social media. Blogging, for example, is one of those sort of purest forms of content marketing. You can do it in person. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're doing your content marketing. It's a cross-format, multi-discipline engagement. It's a bit different than other forms of marketing in that it's driven by the same desires, right? You still want to expand your audience. You want to advertise your products and your services. It's not about the same things, though. It's about the audience, right? Content marketing is about providing experiential value, collateral built on that value for your audience. And the intent there is to build the relationship between you and your potential customers, you and your leads as they go through your customer life cycle. It's about sharing information. You're trading value for data. And then nurturing, using the content that matters to the people who are viewing it. When you think about content marketing, you can channel that famous JFK speech a little bit, and don't think about what your customers are going to do for you. Think about what you're doing for your customers. Think about what your marketing is providing to them as a service. And if you start there, you're going to enter content marketing with the right phase of mind. You're going to be going into it the right way. So this big guy is known as Babendum on our side of the Atlantic, mine at least. He's better known as the Michelin Man. I want to use him as an example of content marketing. He's one of the oldest, best-known examples of content marketing, though you might not see it as such. So in the early 1900s, Michelin they sold tires like they do now. They recognized that their business went hand in hand with people traveling. Right? You buy tires for your car. You use your car to travel. It's a pretty straightforward brand association there. But, back in those days, travel wasn't as big of a thing, especially self-motivated travel, non-train kind of travel. There was obviously no Yelp to help you find a restaurant in a new city. You go to Paris, you don't know anything about it. You go to New York, you don't know where to eat. So what Michelin did was when you bought a set of tires, you would get their Michelin guide, their restaurant guide. You buy some tires, you get a guide. You do some traveling, you wear down your tires. Lather, rinse, repeat. And the point here is that they associated their product with a positive experience, right? Who doesn't like traveling? Who doesn't like going to restaurants in new cities? And they made themselves thought leaders in an industry that, while it wasn't related necessarily to tires, it expanded their brand by relation. They're this whole other kind of expert now. And positive association, that brand development, along with a really clever marketing concept, really worked for them and still does. The Michelin guide has drifted a little bit from its origins in the last 100 years. There are people who don't associate with a tire company, people who don't associate the tire brand with the guide. But from its inception, it's still a really fantastic example of the right way to do content marketing. Thankfully for us, however, we have the internet. Digital media has made content marketing so easy and so fast that literally any marketer can, and read that as can be doing it. You should be doing content marketing, and there's really no excuse now that we have the internet available to us. Digital content marketing is an evolved version of what Michelin was doing in the 1900s, only like most things that are evolving, it's a faster, stronger, more agile version of itself. The way the internet has grown and the way that it's developed, audiences are demanding, if not outright expecting, mass amounts of content, so the desire for high quality is there. They look at every brand as a thought leader, every brand as a potential source of content. And so you're going to need to stand up to that expectation. Unlike our friends at turn of the century Michelin, we're able to do a little bit more than just provide content. We're able to track and analyze things like impressions, click-throughs, conversions. We can look at that data and we can know within just a second or two of our publication how much success we're having. And part of that success, especially now, especially recently, is about sharing, is about reinvigorating that content as part of a word-of-mouth strategy. It's massively powerful, and it's so easy to do now. If you make your marketing shareable, your audience has an audience of their own, and you have a new audience in them. It's the idea of creating something today that gets shared for weeks or months. Everybody wants that viral hit. It's the modern marketing holy grail, and there are tips and tricks that you can use to engineer that virality, but we're not going to talk about that. That's a little bit more advanced than we're going into today. But the idea here is that you can experiment, right? Publication capability is cheaper and easier than it's ever been, literally ever, in the entire history of marketing. And so you can try new stuff with little to no overall risk. Your budget, used digitally, can go a heck of a lot further than it used to be able to, because you can now, using the right tools at least, do it yourself, right? Which is what we want. So, just because I'm sure that there are some folks wondering, there's a lot of data comparing digital and traditional and outlining the advantages of the former over the latter. And, obviously the most obvious of these is cost, right? But also agility, the ability to create and publish content quickly, to change that content, to experiment. And, there's a million reasons to stop throwing your budget at print and radio. And I'm going to go ahead and redirect you to another one of our webinars for some details on that. So if you go to our resource center on our website, go to the webinars page, check out that URL. There's a webinar that Paul Dorfling, our product manager, and I devoted just entirely to that topic of analyzing digital marketing and talking about digital and traditional. So go check that out if you're interested in more information. I'm going to move on, and we're going to talk about the web. So where do we start? How do we get out of the chaos of choosing a vendor and designing content and publishing that content and doing workflow? And there's a lot of stuff here. So how do we get out of that mess and start with content on the web? So I would start with a blog. Seriously, it's the easiest place to start, the easiest thing to learn. And this is assuming, let's take a step back. This is assuming you already have a website. because you're a smart, modern marketer. If you don't love your website, maybe it's time to build a new one. But I'm assuming you have one in some variety, so I'm not gonna start there. But you know, a business without a website is a business with one foot in the grave already. So we're gonna move ahead. You know, if you're not blogging, start. You know, if you're already blogging, great. We'll talk about some tips about doing it successfully. So, you know, first of all, leverage your whole team. Get everybody on board. They don't all have to literally be the ones logging into your content management system and writing the blogs, but get their name on it. Get some content from them, because you're going to want to create custom streams of content that your subscribers can choose from. Don't just have one big uncategorized mess. Give everyone their own voice. Product team, marketing team, IT team, janitorial department, your CEO, CEO's dog. It doesn't matter, right? Let your audience self-segment. Give them the tools to do that, and then they can get exactly the right content for their needs, and you get to learn who they are, right? Someone who subscribes to a highly technical aspect of your blog is going to need a whole other kind of nurturing than someone who reads pieces on graphic design, right? So, you know, on top of that, be consistent. If you post on Monday, keep posting on Monday. You know, don't skip days or post erratically. You know, people are going to come to expect content on a certain schedule. Breaking that schedule is going to lose you visitors. Right? Simple as that. Remember, no matter what you're doing, your blog is not the place to make the hard sell. Your blog is relevant to your business, sure, and it contains content that drives brand loyalty, drives understanding, drives the lead conversion funnel, but it's about your audience, not you. Right? You're providing value, building a relationship. Video is another great place to do this. You know, if you want to generate marketing content that's a little more dynamic, a well-designed thought leadership webinar is a really fantastic dual-purpose tool, because, you know, on the one hand, it's permanent, right? It's reusable. You can save it to your site. You can use it to build up a resource center of on-demand webinars. Totally invaluable for generating new leads or educating existing ones. And as well, they're good events live, right? You want to build up a webinar with some immediacy and start off a chain of emails, blog posts, related content, building up to that webinar. And people are going to want to come along. They're going to ask questions, be part of the event. So we're doing right now, literally in this moment. You're living a part of our content marketing strategy, which is pretty cool, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit at the end of the webinar about follow-up steps that you are going to be a part of, and that you can use as an example to follow up on video as a part of your nurture stream. So generally, as a discipline, thought leadership can be really useful. There's a lot of channels for it. You know, you can write web content that's permanent and a little more standalone than a blog post. Blog posts tend to be part of a larger body of literature. You know, these are things like partner site articles, submissions to publications, white papers, ebooks. You know, showcase your team and the things that they know. Tie your content to your product or your services, but don't use the white paper to sell. Again, you're not making a brochure. The content should be valuable to anyone interested in your product or topic, not just those who engage on a business level. But by that merit, use it sparingly. Right? A huge library of unfocused content can be just as bad as a sparse one. Use your discretion. Right? If you have a lot of potential knowledge to share, share it, but keep it relevant, keep it important. Right? Don't just write whatever you think comes out of your head, especially with thought leadership stuff like white papers. Focus. Right? Focus is good. Remember, the golden rule of this stuff is valuable, experiential information first, sales second. Put yourself in your audience's shoes. Would you want to read this? Look at the thought leadership information that you're absorbing, right? Who makes great white papers that you love? What was the last ebook you read that you thought was really cool? And on top of that, think broadly about what content means, right? Literally every word and image on your website is a piece of your content strategy. Every page someone visits, every banner you put on a partner site, it's part of a bigger ecosystem. Try to keep true to the disciplines that you've applied to focus content, like your blog, throughout your whole web experience. And, you know, this web touches, pardon the pun, touches on things like search engine optimization, keyword strategy, pay-per-click, all of it. It's all part of a larger strategy, but it's built on content, right? You're writing content for a person to read. And it may be seeded with keyword data, and that's great. That's good. You're doing a good job if you're doing that. But think about the person first. The audience is a human being first. Content marketing is something that you're going to do every day, whether you realize it or not. And if you're conscious of that, you'll get better at it. Right? You're not just taking shots in the dark. So the value that content marketing provides to the audience end of this process is pretty obvious, right? You're imparting your knowledge and your expertise to people, and they're learning from it. It's a clear and obvious value to them. But for you, as the content creator, there's a bit of a larger chain of value that comes from content marketing that requires a little bit of work, a little bit of attention to make it sing. So what we're looking at right now is this is a dramatic simplification of the full process, obviously, right? If it was only 4 steps, everybody would be doing it already. But, we're trying to look at the basics, so I'm going to keep it simple. So what you get out of the deal is impressions first. This is people's eyes on your brand. Literally, I'm seeing something I've never seen before, or I'm seeing a new thing that you're offering me. So you get impressions, building awareness. Folks who don't directly engage with it might still have an opportunity to see that content, process it. They're going to associate you with the positive experience that they're having. If they really engage, then we get conversions. Now, conversions, they might be as simple as a subscription to more content, right? Asking for more. I like this. What's the next thing? It might be more directly engaged as intent to buy, right? I got to reach out that way. The idea is here that you're moving from passive observation to engaged lead or prospect, depending on what the vectors of your business are, right? And then you get sales. And read sales broadly here. Whatever you're after, sales, partnerships, subscriptions, donations. This is the sort of end goal of the direct chain. This is the next step. They move out of the marketing funnel and into another one. Giving your audience the means to contribute to that cycle and push out your own content to their space, hugely integral to success. Don't underestimate the value of shared content. If your audience is sharing your content, that gives you more impressions, which gives you more conversions, which gives you more sales. Sales means money. Money is your business prospering. Who doesn't want to share that? Right? So make it easy. We'll talk about that in a second. So let's talk about impressions. Impressions, click-throughs, views, visits, they're all terms that people use to describe the first link in the chain. They give you a general idea of the analytics data about things like the volume of visits you're getting. First off, how many people are seeing that blog post? How many views has your webinar had? Using a tool that's going to give you that data, hugely important, right? Consider impressions and click-throughs as just as valuable as conversions and form fills. Because this data is really useful for things like self-segmentation of your audience. If you can tell what a person is clicking on, even if they don't ultimately convert, you can use it to personalize and segment their next experience. Think of this stuff as the halfway conversion step. You're doing email marketing or follow-ups on e-commerce, we'll call it the abandoned shopping cart. It's a huge segment of the database for potential growth. Sometimes a click is a maybe that just needs a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a follow-up to turn into a conversion. Now, conversion, this is the hard step, right? This is the step that says, okay, content marketer, I'm ready for more. Give me what you got. It's when a viewer becomes a subscriber, making the move from passive observation of content into direct subscription to it. It's the sign-in, it's the opt-in, the follow on your social media content. It's your users, your visitors saying, in return for the dedication to your content, they're going to give you segmentation data. They're going to give you customer data. Someone who's an anonymous click-through turns into a real person with an email address, with a first name, a company, a title, a city, a country, whatever. They've segmented themselves, and usually this process is driven by part of your content management system through a web form, social media plugin. There's lots of tools for generating conversions. You got to make sure you're using the right one for your content marketing plans. Does it plug into the system the way that fits with your mindset about content marketing? And so lastly, and I'm going to argue here most importantly, content is important. The actual content itself is the most important, but as far as that chain goes, in my mind, sharing is the above and beyond, right? This is the way to take your content to, if you'll pardon the cliche, the next level, right? Someone loved your white paper enough to say, hey, audience, Twitter, check this out. And now suddenly you've increased your audience by another 1,000 viewers. This is the email forwarded to the friend. This is the Facebook like that turns into a Facebook share. This is Social media sharing of all sorts, and obviously Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, that stuff is the obvious most simple version of that, but don't look at social media platform as the only opportunity for sharing, right? Blog content, web pages, your thought leadership stuff, your email, there's space to share all of that, and it's an absolute necessity. So make sure you're making this part of the process easy, make it painless, encourage it, reward it, because it's an obvious call to action for those people who have already converted, who are already bought in. You want them to become advocates for your brand. So a tool that you can use, a specific component of your website you can use to do all of this, is the landing page. So if you've done any research at all into the conversion model or content marketing, you've heard the words landing page before. There are entire businesses devoted just to the creation and testing of the perfect landing page. Landing page optimization is massively important, huge tool in your toolbox, especially once you get those basics out of the way. And this particular piece of the puzzle's importance, I can't overstate it. A good landing page means the difference between conversion and not, right? Now, there are folks who their entire devotion in this space is to making landing pages work. And I'm not going to go into too much detail. There's loads of great webinars about landing page conversion, but keep in mind a couple of basic tips while you're building your first landing pages. Keep them light, focus them on conversion, don't overwhelm with content, make it easy and rewarding to convert, make it clear what people are getting when they convert. Be willing to test and experiment. If a landing page isn't working for you, if you're not getting the conversions that you need, then change your landing page, right? Make changes regularly, but influence those changes by detailed analytics and an honest eye for improvement. One thing to keep in mind no matter what you do is follow up on those conversions. Some tools are going to let you automate that process. I fill out a form, I get an email. Simple as that. Choosing the right technology to drive landing pages is going to help you immensely in this process. And as people go through the process of engagement, they start filling out your forms, you're going to learn things about them. You're going to get implicit data from click-throughs, views, information like that about what they're interested in, topics, locational data. From conversion, you're going to get explicit information. So, you're going to learn exactly what they want right from the source. And you're going to want to use that behavioral and attributed data to start to build a profile of your audience and then subdivide it. And why would you want to do that, right? It's about focus, right? It's putting the right content in the hands of the right people to build loyalty for your brand, engagement with your product, your services, and your offerings. It's what takes a piece of content from being a general interest kind of blah web page or blog post, and it drives a personal experience. Personalization creates conversion. Conversion creates sales. It's a fact. Straightforward and simple. Right? Personalization and segmentation is something that you can do as a second tier, right? As you build your subscriber base and as you learn about them. Right? Don't worry about segmenting your blog right at the get-go. Don't worry about personalizing your email content right from the beginning. That'll come in time. But think about it strategically, experimentally from the beginning, right? Start to think about what it might look like. And get creative. I think that's the freedom you have on the web. So this is what content marketing looks like if it were a boring diagram. But it serves its purpose, right? Content is created, it's published, it's promoted, measured, and optimized. And then you drive right back to creating your next piece of content. And it's a cycle that creates targeted, powerful content that isn't just based on wild guesses, right? It's based on real analysis and data. You're promoting it through your own channels, and if you're sharing it, like I'm trying to hammer into your brain, you're going to share that content. You're going to promote it through the channels of your audience, right? You're not learning something on your own. You're getting information from your subscribers and from your subscribers, and so on and so forth. And if you're not learning some kind of measured, analyzed lesson from each piece of content, you need to change the way you're doing content marketing. It's a constant experiment. You're going to find ways that work better for your business, but never assume you've found the best way. Don't rest on your laurels. Always be willing to kill that pet theory. Take your content marketing in a new direction. Get weird. Be daring. Try something new. It's the internet. It costs next to nothing to experiment. So don't be scared. Be brave. So I've talked a lot about building that content, about how to create content for the web, but let's talk a little bit about delivery vector, right? Let's talk about how digital content gets from your brain into the ears and eyes and minds and wallets of your potential customers, of your leads. There's 3 main methods to delivering content digitally. Web, meaning web pages, blogs, all the stuff that makes up your website. Email, and social media. When you're building web content, you've got a massive, well-developed ecosystem of content management systems available. Open source, proprietary, service-enriched. There's literally thousands of options. Ultimately, you're going to want to pick one that provides you with agility, with ease of use, built-in analytics, and human-level support. This is. I'm going to recognize that this is a back-to-basics webinar. You're probably not super advanced, code-heavy organizations. So you want to pick a content management system that's going to support you, that has human beings on the other end of a phone you can call and get help as you build your content marketing strategy. Right? The idea here is, again, the technology should reflect the goals of your strategy. Publish content easily, measure the results of that content, capture leads, integrate the system. Choosing the right CMS is going to make web content marketing a breeze. It should. If you're using a CMS and it's still frustrating and hard, just throw that CMS in a fire. Get a new one, because there are too many good CMSs out there to break your back over a bad one. Just a couple of quick bullet points. Pick a tool that's going to make it easy for you to aggregate content. Creating a blog, adding that content to your homepage, building an RSS feed, integrating it in different places on your website. All that should be automated. Pick a tool that's going to work for the structure of your business. Think about how many people you're using, what their permission and workflow might look like, especially if you're a big organization or you have teams spread across different properties or locations. Workflow can save you a lot of time, and it can be the difference between effective content and failed execution. Right? Make sure your content management tool is well supported. I've been over this. Obviously, this is something that makes sense to you, right? You want to feel confident. You want to feel powerful, not scared of this technological terror put in front of you. The CMS should be a weapon against outdated, awkward content. Make sure you're getting the training and support you need to wield it correctly, safely. The bottom line here, all of this, take away that a CMS should make your job easier. You should feel comfortable using it to experiment, test, and publish content, whatever the feature list might look like. Features are good. Support, human interface, actual ability to do your job, much more important. Email is another really great venue for content marketing, right? It's one thing to create a newsletter-style email to act as your content marketing piece, but it's a whole other to use email to inform people about the other more advanced pieces of content that you've created, right? Content marketing is, by email, maybe the most direct approach, and as such, it requires a little bit of finesse, right? Folks are pretty particular about what they get in their inbox. You can't just start blasting out promotional brochureware to everyone in your database, right? You want a tool that's going to build in segmentation, build consenting opt-ins, create that quality list that you're emailing to. You want lots of small, tight-focused subscriber groups, as many as you can manage. Think bigger than just that brochure-style newsletter. Think about intelligent use of your content. Create nurturing campaigns that dole out the content in easy-to-digest bits and pieces that are always going to engage your recipients in a personalized call to action. Use your email channel to highlight content, highlight videos, draw people back to your blog, celebrate the publication of your content. If you're doing segmentation right, your subscribers are going to want to celebrate with you. Think about yourself as someone who creates valuable content first. Get in that mindset that you're a publisher of experiential usefulness. the marketing value will derive from that naturally. If people love your content, they're going to engage with your brand. They're going to want to give you their money. People talk about social media like it's one big thing. Like there's a social media you sign up for and you click the go viral button and away you go. But it's not true. It's not even remotely true. Social media can be really daunting if you're a first-time user and you don't use social media in your own personal life. You know, do you choose to go with Twitter? Do you build a Facebook page? LinkedIn? All of those? Something different? None of them? Do you recycle content from your blog? Do you have one person do it? Do you have different teams? What's the voice that the person in charge of your social media strategy should use? You know, it's all a lot to jump into right away. So start small. Pick a channel, build an audience, go from there. Find a business that inspires you. Don't be afraid to follow other competing businesses. Look at what they do and then do it your way. You know, don't be afraid to make connections. Learn what other people are doing. Pick up their tips and tricks. There's this whole ethos of social media built on sharing. So ask questions. Get involved. It's about the conversation. And you can expand out and change direction as you learn. Every business is going to find a platform that acts as their sweet spot, right? And for you, if that's more than one, then you might need a multi-platform tool, something like Hootsuite, to look at as you expand, as you start to build your burgeoning social media empire. So, you know, again, web as the core of your content marketing infrastructure, thought leadership from there, consistent blogging, email as a delivery vector, social media as an add-on. You want your content management system to enable all of that for you. And so, you know, this is the point where, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about Marqui, because this is what we do. We live and breathe content marketing on the web. Marqui is a software platform, if you don't already know, designed for web content management. It includes a blogging and an automation process module. We do email marketing through Marqui. We do lead managing, multi-channel campaign tracking. So if you're doing traditional media marketing and you want to drive it back to your website, we can do that using a CRM like Salesforce built into Marqui. All of this is powered by analytics tools that let you know precisely how successful these campaigns are going to be. So Marqui it's a platform for doing all of the things that we talked about today. But more than that, and this is where, you know, my team steps in, is that we provide design and build services. You don't like your website anymore, you want to build a new socially aware, content-driven website, we provide design and build services for that. Don't know where to start? Marqui provides strategic services around helping you figure out the best platforms for your content. You know, should you be blogging? Should you be doing email marketing? How dedicated should you be to social media? We're here to help with that. We're going to understand your business, understand your brand, and help you build that. And then on top of that, it's just the day-to-day stuff, content creation, campaign execution, the actual wheels on the ground getting things done. So we provide all of that as an adjunct to our platform. So let's take a second. I'm just going to see if we've got any questions from the audience, and if we do, I would be happy to answer them. So there's a question about the software that Marqui uses to do this, a little bit more detail about the platform. So Marqui is a template-based proprietary content management system. You know, we've built it here in-house, and it's all developed by our team here in Vancouver. But we built it expressly for the use of marketers, right? So with that in mind, you know, a lot of marketers have at their fingertips developers. They have a team that's comfortable with design and development with HTML and CSS. And so while the Marqui platform is proprietary and that we own the source code for the interface, the template system is really easy to learn, and your developers can build their own custom templates. So there's a lot of flexibility. You know, a lot of the time when people mention a proprietary CMS, there's going to be some concern about there's going to be some concern about whether or not they're going to be able to use it the way they want. And with Marqui, it's designed specifically for that purpose. So you can visit our website. You can learn a lot more about Marqui if you want to. If you go to www.marqui.com, we've got all kinds of information about the software and our offerings. So feel free to hit that up. One thing before we go, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's next for you as an audience. So what we're looking at right now is our lead nurturing flow. This is what happens when someone signs up for a webinar. So you can see up here, there's a webinar sign-up form built into our website. You get a thank you page. By now, you've already gotten your invitation, your reminder, and you'll get a follow-up for attending. Now, all of those people who didn't follow up, didn't attend, they're going to get a separate follow-up. And then from here, everyone's been added to a nurture program. So you're going to get, over the course of the next couple of months, 4 emails from Marqui. Now, you'll get an opportunity to get more. If you're interested in our content, want to sign up to learn more about what we have to say, you're going to get an invitation to sign up for our newsletter. We're going to show you some highlights from our blog, a little Marqui demo video, and an opportunity to sign up for a live demo. And all of this is built, again, on the Marqui platform. So as you progress through our nurturing campaign, if you have any questions about the emails you're getting, want more details, are looking for more information about particular pieces of the nurturing campaign, feel free to reply to any of those emails. Or you can visit marqui.com/Adam. That's my personalized landing page, and you can get in touch with me, learn a little bit more about my part in Marqui and what disciplines that I'm engaged in, and we can get in touch. So again, thank you so much for attending. I hope that this webinar has enlightened you a little on what the possibilities of digital content marketing might look like. And again, I hope that you visit our website, check out some of our other webinars, and stay in touch. So one more time, thank you very much, and looking forward to hearing from you again.